What is going on, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube station? The Tuesday crew is back. I got my guy Gyiraszin, safety meeting himself. His Tigers put a whooping on the old Yankees out there, who people after the first opening weekend of baseball were crowning Yankees as World Series champs when they faced the old the Brew Crew out there in that Cracker Jack Stadium using the cheater bats. But hey, not so much for Tarek Screwball shutting those guys down there. Early slate going on right now. What's going on, Gyiraszin? Happy Tuesday, man. We got some nice baseball here tonight. We got a 920 Q on DraftKings to get a live final seat. Last week, a week ago today, I took second, which is never fun. Hopefully I can get all the way up to the top. If it's not me, hopefully it's someone out there in the community in SHIPIT Nation Discord that does find their way out there to Boston this year for the live final. But what's going on, brother? How are you?
Man, can't complain. It's been a great day, Nades. I mean, I woke up today. I'm still here on Earth, so I can't complain about that. And after this last weekend, we had Tigers opening day. So I drank all day Friday, drank Saturday, bowled Sunday morning, drank all damn day doing that. Yesterday I was like, oh, man, I got to take a break. But then you're sitting around, you're like, oh, it's in the championship game. Well, fuck, I might as well have us another one. So, these high noons going down good. Safety meetings are good. My Tigers are winning. I'll tell you what, Nades, my man right here is getting close. Going back in the case. I got the spot right here for him, Nades. Torkelson may be going back in there. If he keeps this shit up, my man is hitting the ball pretty well. So pretty happy about that. And then, hey, I got lunch bought for me today. I went to my favorite restaurant, got ordered my food, and they're like, you know what? It's on us today. I was like, what's going on? And then I came home, Nades, and I went to do the slate plan. And like magic, I opened it up. It was done. I was like, I'm good today, boy. And I'm thinking, dude, I got this slate licked down pretty good today. So I think, man, we're going to have us a good night. We're going to be drinking some high noons, maybe having some safety meetings. The only thing you could be better is if it was warmer around here. It's cold as shit outside. So just tired of this winter weather already. Just go away. It's baseball time. So, man, should be a fun slate to break down, though. We got a pretty decent one.
Yeah, no, I wish it was. I wish it was warmer outside here in Wisconsin. I just booked my first tee time for the course that I'm a member at here close by for Friday. Season's open. They're opening their doors tomorrow, and it's been. I mean, yesterday I woke up with snow on the ground here in Wisconsin. Obviously, that's the case across this country. And it's a talking point tonight, too, in terms of weather, right? That's just early season baseball. I mean, the Cubs were playing yesterday in 30-degree weather. It didn't matter because the Cubs just look like the invincible Giants right now. We're going to talk about them. I mean, they got on base and they just swiped every bag against Eovaldi, who didn't want to be there clearly. I mean, the dude just looked like he wanted to go in the dugout, put his parka on, fire up the heater, and just sit there. But that's the nature of April baseball here, Gyiraszin, especially across a lot of these parks where they're outside and they're in the Midwest, they're in the East Coast, and the weather just has not cooperated this season. And it's going to be a talking point. There's a couple games here tonight, again, that temperatures in the 40s, in the 30s with super high winds. So we'll see. We'll talk through it. But, hey, right back here, the famous hole, 12th hole at Augusta. We got Masters this week, and our guy Hoop and Tambo did the show right here on this channel. And if you haven't checked it out, head over right here on this channel. Check out that show after this one. Get your Masters lineups reserved. It's the greatest week of the year for golf season. It's the Super Bowl of golf. Tons of massive prize pools out there in the DraftKings lobby. Haven't looked at FanDuel personally. I'm not a FanDuel guy. I know Gyiraszin, you're a FanDuel guy out there. But DGen 75. $24 for the entire month of content. It includes the Masters. It includes the pay-per-view event this weekend for MMA. Obviously, MLB, our team over here, we've been smashing to start the MLB season. DGen 75, $24 for the first month with an optimizer. That's cheaper than places around the industry are charging just for Masters content alone. Look no further than ShipItNation.com. DGen 75, last chance to get in now on that first tee off. Thursday morning, that code will no longer be out valid and active. So no better place than now to join in and join the nation, right? Join the best community, best Discord, get all of our premium tools for the cheapest all-in rate in the industry there. So check us out in honor of our guy DGen. DGen 75 gets you $75 off your first month, comes out to $24. No better rate than that in the entire industry. Gyiraszin, I'm going to bring up the screen share here. I got our partner SaberSim over here, and I did a dry run. As you can see here, I put 150 teams. I filtered by projected score just to kind of get an idea of what the slate's going to give us. And you can see here, Cole Reagan's no surprise, right? 8,100, looks like his old self. His strikeout rates are not back up there. He's got this Twins team. It's cold out there in Kansas City like it is across everywhere. Almost 90% of 150 lineups are slamming in with Cole Reagan's. Then it kind of filters in with Chris Sale is the clear-cut next guy just due to the pricing, right? 9,300. He's cheaper than what Zach Wheeler is and Dylan Cease. He's got a decent matchup against the Phillies for strikeouts there, and his strikeout stuff is off the charts there. What's your kind of broad slate overview? Looking at the slate, I mean, we got 5 pitchers on this slate in the top tier that are all over 28% or more strikeouts to start the season here in a couple starts, and very good control numbers as well. Only one of those guys has over 7% walk rate. What's your take here in terms of obviously Reagan's, this dry run, what we see here in just a broad slate overview before we go tier by tier in terms of pitching here?
Yeah, I mean, you check it out. I mean, it's got all kinds of good, decent pitchers up and down. I mean, there's all kinds of options here today. But when you dive into it and you peel back the couple layers of the onion, there's just certain guys haven't got up to 90 pitches yet that can kind of help me differentiate somebody between like Wheeler and maybe a Sale, something like that. I mean, Wheeler's been at 105 and 97 pitches. The dude's been striking out. I mean, for me, he's the top arm by far. But then you just look down and below, there's maybe 6-7 guys I could literally can't argue with you at all. But then when you start looking at salary, I mean, them optimizers aren't stupid, man. The matchup for Reagan's, he threw a great game last week against your Brewers, 10 Ks, 97 pitches. But, dude, when you hit the team stats, go hit MLB team stats against lefties and search from the bottom. You don't even need to go to number 2 from the worst. Just go to the bottom. Dude, the Twins have 78 bats, 5 hits, 4 doubles, 25 Ks, 0.71 average, 1.45 on base percentage, and a 129 slugging. That's why that computer is all over that Cole Reagan's play. And how in the hell can you argue with it, truly? So to me, I mean, Reagan's is a great play. I think Wheeler's a great play. I think Sale's decent. Cease is decent. Baez is decent. And then you also could go fastball Freddie down there, over there in Colorado too, that, Mr. Freddie Peralta. I dove into that a little bit today, just wanting to check that out. But yes, I mean, I think there's a lot of options. I think for me, I'm not playing any action today over there on DK. I'm going to stay over there on FanDuel where I've been doing just fine. So I'm going to stay in my lane. But man, I think I'd be jamming Reagan's and Peralta and just move on. Maybe use Reagan's and maybe jam in Freddie or Zach Wheeler if you can. But man, I think today you don't want to miss that pitching. We talk about slates, how you can, sometimes you can fade just 1 or 2 guys. Today, I think there's too many options there to get to the top. And I just think you can't miss on pitching today. I don't think you want to go too cheap on pitching today and take any risk. But yeah, for me, there's 6 dudes up at the top that you can't argue with them. I mean, and I think if you have any combination, I think there's enough. I think Reagan's maybe probably the highest owned, but I don't really think he's going to be over 30%, maybe in the mid 20s. I'm thinking, because I do think there's so many options. So, I mean, on a slate like that, looking at some of the numbers and, just kind of looking at it, you think, man, Reagan should be freaking 90%, but he's not going to be. So for me, I'd be all over Reagan's on both sites. Actually, I think he's a great play. I think he'd be the cash game block play for me. Ding.
Yeah. Our guy Title will have the cash core up over on the site. Pretty certain that it's going to be Cole Reagan's. And yeah, you mentioned ownership. We got him projected right now in the flagship. At least Saber has him at about 33%. I'll talk on that right now in particular. I do think that's going to hold pretty true. We saw it yesterday, right? With the loaded pitching slate we had yesterday. I compare this slate even with the 2 more games, right? Because that 10th game did get waxed from the slate, right? That Mets game. Mets and the Marlins did get pulled from the slate. So a 10 game went down to a 9 game. Yesterday was a 7 game slate, and there was a lot of loaded pitching, much like today here. And what happens when you have a bunch of guys, right? Like a Cole Reagan's in a great matchup, a Chris Sale, a Freddie Peralta at 7,800 against a Rockies team who is just not, and nobody's scared to pick on even in Coors Field, right? You got Luis Castillo. Say what you want about him, right? His metrics, everything are down. It's still a name recognition. He's still a solid real-life pitcher. You got Framber Valdez, right? Zach Wheeler, Dylan Cease. I mean, you got really, really good pitchers on this slate. ownership's going to spread amongst all of them. Yeah. Is Cole Reagan's going to be the highest owned guy? Absolutely. Is he going to be 60, 70% like we've seen in past slates, and we're going to see in slates going forward, right? And when we get different slates, especially throughout the year, where a guy like this, majority of the time, Gyiraszin, especially on a two-pitcher slate like DraftKings, would be 60, 70, 80% owned. It's just not going to be the case here tonight due to the loaded pitching slate for me. That from what I'm seeing, and kind of the optimizer clearly wants to give you as much leverage as possible on Cole Reagan's. No surprise. Do I think this ownership comes up? Yeah, absolutely. But am I scared of it? Absolutely not. I think there's enough guys here where ownership is going to spread out to not really worry about ownership from a pitching standpoint. So that's going to take us in. Let's go to the tiers here. One thing to know, in 150 teams, you see right here, Dylan Cease kind of not really highlighted because he didn't hit any of these 150 teams when I sorted by projected score. So that's one interesting note here. He's projected right around 12 to 15%. I expect that to even be lower because what do people do, right? People live and die by optimizers in today's world. I love optimizers, but an optimizer is as good as what you put into it, right? You can clearly see Dylan Cease is just not going to hit teams unless you manually force them in, you manually tweak it. And that's because, right, Zach Wheeler right there and Chris Sale. He's the sandwich guy. He's the lone guy out. He's 10-3 on the slate. It's one of the greatest hitting parks on the slate, right? Obviously behind Coors Field. They're playing out there in Sacramento, right? The Athletics, that park has scored a ton of runs this season, and you needed to stack it up last night to win any sort of money. So naturally, he's going to be lower owned. So talk about this 8K and above here. Hit on Cole Reagan's for sure. Hit on Shane Baz. Hit on Sale, Wheeler, and Cease for sure at the top, and then any of these other guys here as pivots in this other range that you're looking at here.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Lopez starting at 8. I'm going to pass on that. And Reagan's, as we discussed, I mean, the Twins have been absolutely horrible against left-handed pitching. I mean, just horrid. So striking, I think it's like 33% strikeout rate too. So it's just bad. So, I'm all about that matchup there for Reagan's. And what I like is he was at the 97 pitch mark. We're still around that mid 80 mark for some guys here. We're going to be that way for the next couple of weeks. So to be able to see a guy already past that barrier, I mean, that definitely helps me if I'm like, tied or trying to figure out two guys. The little higher pitch count is good for me. Lodolo, I mean, I think that's interesting. I mean, that could be, a different kind of, I mean, it's just a off the wall kind of pivot to me. I mean, there's too many other good plays on a slate like today. So I'm not really interested in going after him, especially in a pitcher's park like San Fran. You think, it's not too bad, but not really interested, even though he did have 20 points, 4 Ks. He went 80 some pitches. No thanks. I'll just pass on him. San Francisco don't have enough Ks for me. Luis Castillo, I mean, gets a tough matchup there with Houston. Not really interested in Luis. I mean, I just think there's better options here. I mean, he's struggled a little bit coming out the gate too. So not interested there. Baz is interesting. I mean, obviously a bigger strikeout guy, but he's just got to do it a little bit more. Last game, he had 33.10 Ks, 96 pitches. I don't know. I'm not there yet on Baz. He's a wild card for me. I'd put him in my pitcher pool today, but there's just too many other guys that I like a little bit more. I mean, Baz, as we've seen, we know the Tommy John comes back. We weren't sure last year. I think he had low 20% strikeout range. All of a sudden, he has a big game there. So it's just kind of hard to gauge him. I want to watch him a little bit more as the season progresses. But, basically Chris Sale, I think Sale's interesting against the Phillies here. Again, there's just some other spots that I like. We know Sale's strikeout percentage is up there. I do like that. His pitch count hasn't been 84 and 87, hasn't really been where I want. He's been giving up about 3 earned runs both games. I mean, he hasn't had enough Ks to cover the 3 earned runs, 7 Ks, 5 Ks. So, I mean, there's just too many spots here, I think, today that can burn you today that are a little bit better. And that's Zach Wheeler. I think he's the top play for me against an Atlanta team. He's been striking out a ton already this year. Wheeler's been up there in the pitch count, as I mentioned. The dude's just looking really, I mean, he's got 18 Ks already in 13 innings. So looking really good. I think Wheeler would be my top pitching play today. And I think with a guy like Reagan's, it's pretty easy to be able to get them both in and jam them. That's why I think the ownership's going to be a little bit different. You talk about Cease. He's definitely got some strikeout capability there, but the thing with the A's, they just don't really strike out enough for you. I mean, they got some pretty low strikeout bats in that lineup. They got 3 guys over 30%, but everybody else is in the teens and lower. So, that's probably why Cease isn't making anywhere on those optos. And as you mentioned, there's so many good options today. But I mean, it's GPP baseball. I mean, there's 6, 8 guys I think you can mix in. So, but for me, my favorite, Wheeler, Reagans, and I do like Freddie Peralta, who, obviously I haven't mentioned just because he's right below that 8K line. But, I mean, Freddie Peralta, I think, is in a great spot here today against a Colorado team that can't seem to hit their way out of a stinking paper bag. And Freddie Peralta is pretty much a primary fastball pitcher. And you can go and just check out what the Rockies strikeout percentage against four-seam fastball is. Pretty much every dude except Chris Bryant is over 30 is pretty close to over 30%. So, man, I'm liking some Freddie Peralta, and everybody talks about Coors Field and the pitching, and you get guys that throw a lot of curveballs and junk pitches. Those are the ones that are affected in Coors Field. I can tell you right now, fastballs are not going to be affected in Coors Field. So I do like this matchup for Freddie. I think it's strong. I mean, he's cheap, 7,800 on a great pitching slate. And then, like I said, too, I mean, I think Reagan. For me, I just put in Freddie and Reagans, and, man, I'm going to have a lot of fun grabbing me some bats that I want. Pretty much be able to get any bats you want. As you mentioned, we got a Coors Field game here today. We got some Brew Crew bats that I think are going to be popular. So, yeah, I think really, truly, don't worry about the ownership. Put the pick guys in you want today. That's what I'm going to tell you. Use your gut, go with it, and let's go.
I agree with you right there in terms of pitchers. I'll start. Cole Reagan's clear cut. I'm with you there, lockstep, arm in arm. He's the top pitcher for me on the slate. No surprise, right? That's not rocket science. But, again, he's not going to get the ownership like it. He's not going to be 50, 60, 70% owned. He's probably at most comes in 35, 40%, I would say. Obviously, stakes and field size and things like that matter. But I love Cole Reagan's there. I'll touch on Freddie in the next tier. He is below 8K there. But, yeah, I agree with a lot you said on Freddie. I'll hit on him when we do go 8K and below. Lodolo, I think, is fine. Obviously, it's a really good pitcher's park out there. I do think, people especially last night, right? A lot of people that are playing baseball today played last night, right, on a Monday. Not much else to play outside of maybe watch the national championship game last night or something like that for college hoops. And they just saw what Hunter Green did to this Giants team. I'll tell you right now, Hunter Green has made leaps and bounds, strides of improvement over the offseason. He's a much better pitcher than what Lodolo is. I get it. 8,200, the park, everything like that. It's just, I can't do it for Lodolo when he's only $100 more than Reagans. I just rather go to Reagans or go to a Freddie or something like that. So Lodolo, I get it. I actually don't mind some power one-offs or mini sacks actually against Lodolo there. So I'm out on him. I'm out on Castillo. Castillo's just a much better real-life pitcher than he is a DFS pitcher. His strikeout stuff has actually come down significantly. He's right around league average, actually, in terms of strikeout rates now at his current state that he's in. I get it. The Houston lineup is just not what it once was, but still, they got some issues in there, right, with Alvarez, Altuve, who absolutely launched one last night. It is a really good pitcher's park there, so that is going for Castillo. He is going to be low-owned as well, but that's just the nature of the slate. All of these guys up here, name recognition alone, are going to get some ownership, and nobody's really that much chalkier than the rest or vice versa there. So ownership doesn't really matter for me tonight at pitcher is kind of how I'm approaching it. Sounds like you're the same there. So I'm out on Lodolo, out on Castillo. I do have a lot more interest in Shane Baz than you do. This park is going to be good for hitting. It is a good park here. The weather is decent in Tampa as well. That is one thing to go against it, but he looked really good in that first start for me. I'm not afraid of this Angels lineup. I get it, right? They got Mike Trout in there. But the back half of that lineup has a ton of strikeouts in there. Shane Baz has shown a ton of strikeout ability, especially coming off that first start there. And the price point, 8,600. We got him right around 90 pitches or so as an average. I expect him to go right around that, maybe a little bit more. And the matchup price, everything, I like it there. So I like his upside, especially with the ownership too. I don't mind him there. Out on Framber.
That's your pivot from Freddie and Reagans for sure.
Yeah, I like him, and I like pairing him with Reagans or Freddie, to be honest, and avoiding that top tier. And from a points per dollar standpoint, what it allows you to do with bats, I think is definitely intriguing and interesting there. I'm out on Framber even against this this Mariners team that just doesn't. I mean, there's so many strikeouts within that lineup. Is he fine? Yeah, but I'd rather just find the $500 and get up to Chris Sale, who I really like a lot. This Phillies team against lefties strikes out a ton, and Chris Sale has incredible strikeout metrics. He's 9,300, which that salary, that $1,200 goes a long way on the slate. Gyiraszin from that discount off of Wheeler. Do I think he is definitely going to be the chalk pairing with Reagans? Absolutely. I'll be honest. I won't be surprised if the cash pairing here tonight is Sale and Reagans, kind of what the optimizer shows you right here, just because that $1,200 matters, right? When you're talking bats on the slate. I have Zach Wheeler as SP1 with you right there behind Reagans on the slate. It's just what he's done. 2 cupcake matchups to start the year, but it's still Zach Wheeler, man. He's got the long leash. This Braves team has looked abysmal to start the year. They had 1 game or 2 games, right, that they kind of went off. But, I mean, they started, 0-8, something like that. And it's Zach Wheeler at 10.5. He's not 12K. You can afford him. So I really like Zach Wheeler. So up here in the top range, it's Reagan's number 1 for me, Wheeler 2. And then I'm probably going to go Shane Baz and Chris Sale 3-4 for me. Everyone else would kind of be pivots. Dylan Cease is a good option, but I just don't know if you need to go at 10-3 out there in Oakland in that ballpark against this A's team who is not the same A's team we picked on last year, right? They got some young talent in there. They got low strikeout guys, and they got a lot of power in not the old Coliseum, right, ballpark where you could hit the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour, right, and it'll be a fly out because of that park. This time you hit that ball like that, it's going over the wall there in this new ballpark out there. So I'm out on Cease at that price point. I get it in tournaments. He's a nice pivot. He's going to be unowned. Optimizer just showed us that. So for me, it's 4 guys up here up top, but I won't be surprised to see some of these other guys that we mentioned that we're not really high on could be definitely in the optimal because they're all really good real life pitchers and definitely have solid enough matchups, right? That I could see a couple of these guys up here hit the optimal or be the highest scoring pitchers, kind of like what we saw last night with guys like Logan Webb, et cetera, right, on the slate. Let's go below 8K. I think the number 1 guy down here for sure, obviously, is Freddie Peralta. Ownership, I do think, gets held in check because, again, Coors Field. Everybody talks about Coors Field. It's the best spot on the slate, right? Everyone's going to run to Coors Field and just load it up. But he is a fastball guy. These Rockies do strike out a ton. Nice thing about Freddie is he's gone 13 innings this year. In his first 2 starts, his strikeout metrics have been off the chart, and he's only got 1 walk, right? How does Freddie get in trouble? He starts losing command of that fastball, right? Has to come throw that meatball across the heart of the plate if he's not locating his corners. That can get troublesome. But this year, one walk across 13 innings is what I like to see. So I'm in on Freddie. I love Freddie here, 7,800. He's got that significant discount. If he wasn't in Coors Field, I mean, he'd be up there with Wheeler and Cease and Sale, right? At somewhere between 9 and 10.5, somewhere in that ballpark. You're getting almost a $2,000 discount here just because he's in Coors Field, but it's still the Rockies, right? You still got to make contact. You still got to put the ball in play for the field and the conditions to matter. So I love Freddie, but talk about any of these other guys down here. I have one guy that I'm going to talk on that I have some interest in that I think's a little sleeper pick, and I get it, right? It's not for everyone, but it's just a matchup thing. But anyone you're looking at down here below 8K, that stands out to you.
I mean, there's probably only 3 guys I'd even remotely consider. Roop, however you say that shit. I guess, maybe I'd look at him as a cheap dart, maybe if you want to go there. I mean, dude had 8 Ks in 4 innings, but he walked 4 dudes. So that's a little concerning. It only had 14 points, but again, against the Houston team, which we know, isn't at the top of the charts for strikeouts. So I'd maybe look there. I mean, I'm not interested in Morton. I don't want nothing to do with that Arizona-Baltimore from a pitching side with that roof open tonight. No thanks. Hendricks, no thanks. I mean, you'd have to shoot me, or I'd have to smoke some really good shit to play Patrick Corbin. I'll tell you that right now. That just ain't going to happen. Tyon, maybe. I mean, you could maybe think about a Tyon if you wanted to throw a dart down here too. But, man, I think today's pitching slate, you can't be fooling around, man. You can get burned pretty easy on pitching. Tyon, though, 23 points last start out. Did have 94 pitches, 7 Ks. So I don't mind Tyon here against a Texas team. And then, Freeland, no thanks. I mean, if you wanted to get a little leverage here, you can. He did have 2 decent starts on the road. If you want to look at that, I mean, Nades is sitting over there rubbing his hands together. You know you're a Brewer fan. I mean, man, oh, man, you're going to have to root against your squad tonight if you put him in there. But, I couldn't fault you for that either. But I don't think that's a tight play for today, man. There's just too many good options up at the top where I'm thinking if you don't get 50 points out of your 2 pitchers tonight, you might as well just forget about it. That's the way I'm thinking. There's too many options to avoid, too many pitchers for us to avoid. A couple of them are going to have good nights, and I'd be really concerned about that. And I don't think you're going to. I don't know, man. I don't think it's the right slate, but I could see why. I see the logic, but I just don't think it's the right time.
Yeah, we definitely differ there. Number one, I'll tell you here's the reasoning. It is hard to stack the teams you want to stack. I mean, I love that Arizona-Baltimore game. Those guys are expensive. The roof is open there. There should be runs. There's stolen base upside there. But the lefties that you want to play, right, from Baltimore are all expensive, right? They're expensive. You can't just go in there and play Zach Wheeler, Chris Sale, or Wheeler and Reagan, Sale and Reagan's, and then 5-stack the guys that I want to stack up outside of the Brewers, right? So there's that case. There's also the Brewers are going to be clear-cut the chalkiest team on the slate just because they're in Coors Field. It's not the greatest weather in Coors Field. I mean, the temperatures are in the 60s, wind's kind of blowing in. Is it the greatest spot on the slate for hitting? It's definitely the best spot on the current state of what we have for the slate at hand. But Freeland has always pitched better at home. He's pitched decent to start the year against the Phillies in one of those starts. I mean, he only scored 9 points against the Phillies there, but I watched that entire game because I played him against the Phillies there. There was some bad break there. And then the price point. I mean, he's $5K against a team that just struggles against left-handed pitching. I mean, this Brewers team, I was at the home opener. I mean, they made Bubic look like Cy Young, right? I mean, Bubic was out there, and he's not a crazy good pitcher by any means. I mean, he's not terrible. But Freeland historically has always pitched well. Last year, he only gave up 9 home runs all season long in Coors Field at home. Had a 2.74 ERA, I think, at home last season across the entire course of the season. And it's a lefty against the Brewers, who are also going to be the chalkiest team on the slate. So I have a lot more interest than I'm going to tell you right now, the field, right? Freeland's projected to be under 1% owned. I just think the leverage is too good. I think he at 5K. I mean, how many outfielders on this slate, or how many batters in general on this slate, are priced $1,000 more plus than what Freeland is here? And he's got. I mean, I just think the matchup. I think it's good. I think the leverage is there. Is it? I mean, a lock button play? No, absolutely not. It's Kyle Freeland. It's a tournament play. We're trying to win tournaments, and with the matchup, how he's looked, how he's pitched in Coors Field against a Brewers team, my Brewers team. That's going to be the clear-cut chalkiest spot on the slate. I just think the leverage is too nice there. So I'm in on Freeland down here. I don't mind Tyon if you actually need to get down there at 6,200, right? It's temperatures in the 40s. This Texas team just got beat up by Justin Steele yesterday. Tyon looks solid in his first start here. He should pitch anywhere from 85 to 90 pitches, maybe a little bit more there. This Texas team just doesn't look like they're having fun out there in Wrigley in this freezing cold weather. Wind's also blowing in Wrigley, kind of like blown across the field there. So I don't mind him. And then it's Freddie Peralta. I'm not messing with Landon Roop here. The control issues there against a Cincinnati team that can steal bases and get you in trouble in a hurry. I just don't think you need to go there. So for me, it's Freddie Peralta, the guys at the top, and then I'm punting all the way down to Freeland. And I'd actually rather play Freeland than Tyon, which is crazy that sounds. I just think the leverage is too nice on this slate here. So Gyiraszin, we differ a little bit there. I get the reasoning. I understand, but I will counter argue. You can't just play the top end pitching and stack the bats that you want to on this slate, because you do have a salary cap. So that's where I'm kind of going. That's where I stand for pitching. But give the people your top 5, and then we'll go game by game.
Wheeler 1, Reagan's 2. I'll say Sale 3, and then Peralta 4, and then 5. I would probably go Baz.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I'm going Cole Reagan's number 1, Wheeler 2, Shane Baz 3, Sale or Freddie's going to be 4, Sale would be 5, and then my tournament guy is Kyle Freeland. Another thing going for him too is he's the ground ball guy. And I mean, he's got more of a lean towards ground balls, and this Brewers team has one guy on the entire roster that hits the ball in the air consistently, and that's Rhys Hoskins, who has looked horrendous to start the year as well, coming off a huge spring training there. So that definitely didn't correlate over, at least so far this season. Obviously, everything's so far, right, until it is, right? So we'll see.
I just play on FanDuel there, King of Smack.
FanDuel I wouldn't. FanDuel I definitely would not.
You can't do that on FanDuel. I mean, as I said, if I was playing on DK today, I'd pretty much probably lock Freddie and Reagan's. He gives you a lot right there. That's why I wouldn't go that low. But I mean, I understand what you guys are saying. For me, I'm playing on FanDuel. I'm not going that route.
Yeah, no, definitely not on FanDuel. It's just $5,000 against a lefty who is stretched out. I mean, how many times is Freeland averages 6 innings? A little over 6 innings. So I like his leash. I like the upside. I like the strikeout matchup there, and I like the leverage on the field there. So we spent enough time on that. Let me go ahead and showcase the stone here. Hop over here, and we're going to go game by game and talk these games in terms of hitters. And it's a pretty solid one here to start, at least on one side. For me, Shane Baz, I really don't have any interest in these Angels. Could you play Mike Trout as Soler? Yeah, absolutely you could. I'm going to side on his side versus the bat side for the Angels, but I do have interest in these Rays. Kyle Hendricks kind of put up a gem his first start. I'm not a believer in Kyle Hendricks. He's always got me kind of, I can never really get him. When you stack against him, he just never really gets blown up. So I prefer the Rays more as kind of mini stacks, but they are super cheap. Brandon Lowe, I love these lefties, mainly. Aranda coming off a home run. Brandon Lowe, Cameron Misner and Magnum down there. I don't mind those guys. So it's more of a mini stack lefties for me. In this ballpark, decent hitting weather out there in Tampa as well. And it is a hitter's ballpark. At least it's going to play like that in that minor league stadium there. So what's your take here on hitters in Tampa?
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. I think Tampa is one of the point per dollar better stacks of the night. But as you mentioned, I'd rather have the left side. Hendricks got a little bit more ground ball lean to the right side. But, I mean, with Lau, Aranda, Misner, I mean, some of the guys at the bottom that you could throw in there. And I don't even mind a catcher like Danny Jansen if you're over there on DK and got to have a catcher so he can hit you a homer or two. So, yeah, I think the Rays are in a really good spot. You mentioned they got a new park. I mean, it's one thing I keep telling my brain, like, we're not at Tropicana anymore and we're not in the Coliseum in Oakland anymore. And man, that Sacramento park out there has been yielding quite a bit of runs as we've been seeing. So, but, you know, I don't know. The Rays, I think if I was over on DK, I don't know if I'm going to get over there on FanDuel. I'm going to have to play with a little bit, especially I'm going to have to pay up a little higher for pitching. So the Rays definitely could be in play, especially if you pay up higher for pitching. So I think just depending on how the builds go, if somebody goes high-end pitching, I'm pretty certain that you may end up with some Rays. Just the way the optos are going to work, everything else. So, yeah, I don't mind the Rays. I really don't. It's just, you know, you look at that lineup and you're just like, man, they're for name recognition. It sucks. You know, we don't know too much about any of these guys. I feel like I'm playing a freaking AAA team that I don't even know, man. I collect baseball cards and know all the Bowman guys who are good so I can get a couple years ahead of them. And some of these dudes, I don't know who the hell they are. So it's like, all right, who are you? You know, like, what the hell? What have you done? So, yeah, I just it's hard to click on them, but hey, I think for what their value is, I think they're in play.
Yeah, looking back at the dry run quick, just on the other tab here, across the 150 lineups when I did sorted by projected score, right, just to kind of see what the optimizer is doing, 72% Brewers stacks, 43% Padres stacks, 25% Rays stacks. In the top, I don't know, 10 teams or so are all Brewers and Rays combinations, right? Rays mini stacks, Brewers 5-mans there. So if you use the Rays as a mini stack and pivot to like a Baltimore or an Arizona, I think that's an interesting way how to play the Rays here in terms of roster construction, right? I do think the Rays are good. Looking at the weather in Steinbrenner Field out there, 72 degrees, 12-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to right center. So those lefties get another wind boost as well behind them. And they're facing Kyle Hendricks, who I just don't have any problem attacking. So I'm in on the Rays. And again, I like him more as a mini stack because I do think there is some pinch hit concerns for some of these guys. But again, not something I'm really too concerned about there. So I like
the weather's a big ordeal, Nate. You know what I mean? Like at this time of the year, man, in April, the weather's such a big deal. I mean,
it makes
been seeing some of these Midwest games. It's freaking snowing and shit. And some of these guys, you know, who the hell wants to work outside in that crap? Nobody. So, you know what I mean? But 72-degree weather, man, that's perfect. I mean, you can't get any better weather than that. And here we are in April, and I mean, like you mentioned, top of the show, Nate, a lot of these West Coast games and later games are the ones yielding the runs and getting you across the finish line because it's a huge difference. I heard on the Tigers broadcast, they were talking about the different weather, and the dude literally came with facts and stats about how with a 5 or 10-degree difference, it takes like 13 feet off a ball if you hit it the same. Like it takes a huge, like he just went on about it for a minute or two. And I thought it was interesting. I don't know if Andy Dirks or who the hell it was on the Tiger broadcast, but they were talking about it. And I was like, you know, it definitely makes sense. I never heard anybody put numbers to it. But, I mean, 13, 15 feet, they were like talking about Aaron Judge. You know, he'd have to really, you know, hit one on the screws to get something out. And we kind of seen that now. The Yankees went to Pittsburgh. Here they are in Detroit. It's cold, man. I mean, they're not going to be smacking the ball as they are, but I guarantee you they go out there to Oakland, watch out. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that 72 degrees has a lot more to do with it for me, for the Rays, than me having a hard time clicking with them names that you just don't know too well.
Yeah, I mean, if there was better weather and better parks on this slate, I think would I be more interested in the Rays or as interested in the Rays as I am right now? No, absolutely not. But we saw it last night. What was the game you needed? It was that park out in Oakland, right? Better weather. I mean, Kyle Tucker hit a ball that literally would have been gone any other park, any other time, any other weather. But it was 30 degrees last night, and he didn't even make it out, right? He absolutely murdered one, and he was even trotting, right? Thought it was gone, and it just didn't go anywhere because it's freezing cold. So I'm in on the Rays. Weather's good. Park's good. Checks the box, and ownership's going to get held in check from what I'm seeing. So
third highest game on the slate for his totals, 8.5.
I mean, you stack them with anyone but the Brewers, and it's going to be unique enough that you don't really have to worry about it there. So I'm in on the Rays. We spent enough time there. Next game on the slate, really no interest in bats in this one at all for me. Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler, two good arms, two of the better pitchers on the slate. Looked great to start the year. Can Chris Sale get a little wonky at times? Sure, but do I really want to pay these price points for these Phillies? Not for me. So this game's a cross-off for me, but any spots here you see?
No, I mean, I don't really – I mean, let's not forget that Harper and Schwarber are really good hit against lefties. So, you know, that's why, too, I kind of had a little concern with Sale. I mean, his matchups there against the lefties aren't really that great. And, you know, Castellanos always been good against lefties, too. And I think he hit a grand slam the other day. So, I don't know. I just, you know, I guess the Phillies for me, like if you really wanted to get, you know, silly playing 150, I wouldn't mind some Phillies against Sale. I think you might get a little leverage there. I think I'd rather have that leverage there than some other spots. But yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's just not the right slate for it. So I'm just going to let it go. But yeah, I think it's interesting. But we got a game total of 7 when we got we got a 9.5, a couple 8 and some 8.5, and then we got 4 7. So, you know, like for me, cost them 7 games off, and let's make some lineups out of those teams that we got everything from 8 and higher. I mean, sometimes baseball is just that simple. You know, it's okay to cross off games, like we said. This one's definitely one, and then you know, the next one probably is a cross off too. So, but either way, but yeah, this one's definitely a cross off.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, it is a decent hitting park. It's the temperatures aren't great in Atlanta, 57 degrees. There is 10, 12 mile an hour winds blowing out kind of straight to center field. But again, I just don't think it's a slate to pick on these arms. Could they get there? Absolutely. In MME, sure. But I'm playing 3 main teams here tonight. I won't have either of these teams as stacks. So not going to go on about that. And more of the same here. If I picked a side, it would be the Royals. Personally, against Pablo Lopez, I have no interest in Corregans. He's my top arm on the slate. None of these Twins, look at these metrics against the Twins so far this season. I get it. It's limited sample sizes. but you even pulled it up for the entire season across left-handed. This is home road splits that we have here on the Stone. But even the entire season, I mean, they've been abysmal against lefties. And the Royals, I mean, they hit a little bit last night. I liked them. I don't mind them. But again, I just don't think it's one of my favorite spots on the slate, especially with these price points. I mean, looking at the temperatures, it's decent weather out there in Kauffman Stadium. I mean, Ballpark Pal, who I trust pretty good over here for ballparks and metrics in terms of what it's going to do to affect runs and things like that. Obviously, it's all motto based and nothing's a guarantee, but temperatures in the 60s, high 50s, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left field. I mean, they got it as a boost for doubles and triples and singles, and a downgrade for strikeouts, but it's still not it's not super warm or anything like that. So I don't hate some of these Royals, but again, they're expensive, and we want to spend up at pitching for the most part on this slate. So not a really game that I'm super interested in, but what do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing on a slate with a team that's only hit 6 home runs so far. And that'd be the Royals. I mean, we got, we're starting to get a little bit of stats accumulated. And I mean, some of these teams, like I've said in the past, in the years past, like, man, I hate getting stuck into these optimizers that want you to play a team like the Indians last year who couldn't hit a home run and save their damn life, maybe 2 dudes. So it was like, why am I stacking a team where 3 guys are going to end with 12 homers in my stack throughout the whole season? Like, what am I betting on here? I'm betting on them. I mean, no, like, to me, I want teams that are powerful, and if you don't have power, you better be stealing bags like Ricky Henderson. But I mean, I don't want to get sucked into playing a team on a big slate like today, and you play a team like the Royals, and they're not there. They got 6 home runs all stinking season. They're slugging 369. I mean, no, thank you. I'm not interested. I gotta get my bread. That's the other thing too. Like, I always tell myself, I'm not getting sucked in. Maybe mini stacks. If you like a couple dudes, that's okay. But man, the full 5-man, a team like the Royals, I think at this point, to me, is a mistake. I mean, they're not going to win you too many tournaments. I don't feel as if they are. They don't have the power. And that's no offense to any of them. Bobby Witt, they're all good players. But I mean, are they going to hit me 5 homers? I mean, are they going to compete against the Yankees or the Orioles or some of these other teams that we have out there? Probably not. So, like, to me, that's what I get concerned about, Nades. Like, and here we do have a 7 game, but I'm just saying, as the season goes on, man, I like to watch whose team. If you're not powerful and you're not slugging, I don't even want to play you. I don't care what your damn names are.
Yeah, I would say like some lefty power, maybe Bobby Slams always can hit it out, Salvi. But again, at these price points, I mean, Bobby Witt's 5,900. If I'm paying up there, I'd rather just go to Gunnar Henderson for cheaper, right? Or someone like that on this slate. So I don't hate some of the lefty fly ball guys, right? Vinny P can always hit it out. Michael Massey's been swinging a good stick as of late. Melendez always has power, but he's always got strikeouts to come with. And we saw it yesterday. Who hit the home run for the Royals yesterday? Kyle Isbell, right? So, I mean, you just don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, 1.6% owned. The guy I had him in mind was like 1% owned. I was getting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not the best spot on the slate for sure. So, takes us to another freezing cold game. I mean, a wind game in Wrigley, not in a beneficial way. Temperatures in the 30s here. And, I mean, we saw it yesterday, but I will say where I do have interest is the Cubs because I don't think anybody's going to play them. What did the Cubs do? The Cubs steal bases. Who do you steal bases against? Well, they stole them against Eovaldi at will yesterday, and guess who? Patrick Corbin, one of the best pitchers to target for stolen bases. So where can teams like the Cubs, who aren't going to hit a ton of home runs with the conditions, where can they make it up on the base pass? And you saw it. I mean, they were swiping bags left and right. I mean, you get a single or a walk, right, and steal second. That's 7 or 8 points right there. You score a run, that's 9 or 10 points. I mean, you're right there in the category of that 14-point home run in one at bat, right, without hitting the home run there. So I like the Cubs. I just don't think they're going to get ownership even after last night. And the way they're swinging the bat right now against the guy who we've always blindly stacked anyone against, right, in Patrick Corbin. I like these Cubs in tournaments, even with the weather, park, everything. I don't care. I mean, it was worse conditions last night against a way better pitcher, and the Cubs still scored 10 runs last night.
They scored 7. But I will caution you, they only had 1 double and 1 triple, 2 extra base hits, both of them by Bush. We like some Bush, don't we?
Yeah,
but either way.
But they steal base.
Yeah, they only had 2 extra base hits, scored 7 runs, but as you mentioned, they stole 5 bags. So as you mentioned, they get a hit, they steal. I mean, Suzuki even stole a bag as I was looking at you were talking. So, I mean, Bertie stole 2. Crow Armstrong stole 1. I mean, so yeah, you're right. They're going to steal some bags on Corbin, that's for sure. And they're going to have plenty of opportunities. But, I'm sitting there thinking to myself on a 10-game slate with a Coors Field, and, this one is sitting at an 8. So, as far as the total for the game goes, you would think it'd be a little lower with the weather as it is. But I think they see Patrick Corbin and didn't want to be too concerned about that. But the books that being because Corbin sucks. But either way, I do like the Cubs. I'm just a little concerned on the upside here. I don't know how much upside we got here, because if that Baltimore-Arizona game for me is looking pretty juicy. And, man, I'd be really concerned because, as you mentioned, they're going to steal some bags in that game too. So, I just don't think the power upside's here. If we were in the other park, if we were out there in Texas, it would be a lot better. But with the wind blowing in at Wrigley, as you said yesterday, scored all them runs, but there was only 2 extra base hits by 1 guy. So, that's the concern for me. But the Cubs have been smashing the ball. They're at the top of major leagues. Almost all the stats. They are legit. They're hitting well. They turned the lineup over. I like the lineup up and down. So, definitely a team, we're going to look at. I just cautioned today just because of the weather. As you mentioned, better pitcher yesterday, a little colder. But, the stolen base upside definitely tops on the slate. But as you mentioned, I'm just a little concerned about the upside for power.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. The Cubs have, 20 or 21 stolen bases on the year already. Nico Horner's got 6. Birdie, if he's in there, is a 4. Crow Armstrong has 4. Kyle Tucker has 3. Suzuki had a bunch of stolen bases last year. He's got 1 on the season last night, but last year he was 4th on the team with 16 stolen bases, right? So Dansby Swanson had 19 stolen bases last year, 3rd on the team. And the wind's not really blowing in. It's looking like it's blowing across the field at 5 to 7 miles an hour. So nothing really to worry about there. Way worse conditions yesterday. I just think, given the slates, right? Everybody knows Arizona and the Orioles and Coors Field, right? Everybody knows those spots and the Rays. I'm just looking at other teams in Vegas, right? Vegas still has this total at an 8 with the weather in Wrigley, and they look at that stuff too. So I like it for tournaments. I want the stolen bases guys: Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, Swanson, Horner, Crow Armstrong, even lefty. If Birdie's in there, he's a nice salary saver. I definitely have more interest in the Cubs than it seems like you do, and just for the upside, because I just don't think there's a ton of spots on this slate that are going to have a ton of upside, and the ones that quote unquote are supposed to have the upside are also coming with the most ownership. So I do think in tournaments it's a pretty good spot here for me personally. Takes us to the next game, the talking point of the slate, right? Coors Field, Kyle Freeland, Peralta. I had more interest in the pitchers in this game. From a hitting, is the Brewers the top spot on the slate, quote unquote, right? Absolutely, right? Are they going to be owned like it? Absolutely. Is this ownership projected up there? Yeah. Do I think this comes in? Do I think they come in even higher on than what we have projected? Absolutely, because when I ran the optimizer, 70% of 150-man, 5-man stacks came and threw in Brewer stacks there, because you can stack the back half of this lineup and afford the Reagans and the Chris Sales Wheelers of the world. So in terms of bats, I actually probably slightly prefer some of these Rockies fly ball guys against Freddie Peralta. This entire roster for the Rockies all hits the ball in the air. And if for whatever reason Freddie loses command, whatever, I don't hate some of the Rockies, but Brewers side, if I'm playing the Brewers, I'm going more to the back half of the lineup, because I think naturally that's just a way to get different. Even a guy like Bryce Terang, lefty, if he's in there, 5,600, if he's hitting down on the bottom, lefty, nobody's going to really play him. And all it takes for him is a walk. He's going to swipe second and he can score. So that's another stolen base guy there. But what's your take here in terms of definitely the chalky spot on the slate for one side, right? In particular with the Brewers.
When the season started, Nades, I kind of I go over last year. I talk, hey, with some things I want to some rules I want to set for myself this year, things and, on situations. And I kept telling myself, I just should fade Coors Field all year and not play it all year round and just fade it. Because, I mean, you got to nail the whole damn stack just perfectly. So if you're going to play the Brewers tonight at 5-man and you don't play Sal Frelick and he goes off, I mean, I got news for you. You ain't going to win. I mean, even the lefty there. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, you got to nail it perfectly if you're going to play a chalky stack like that. Sometimes 4 or 5 guys may get you up there in the decent money, but you're not going to win if you don't nail it all the way perfect. So, that's the risk of playing, a chalky type stadium. We already see these Rockies are terrible, man. I mean, they're just terrible. They're going to be probably the worst team in baseball as it's all said and done. They're going to give up a bunch of runs, especially as it gets warmer. I get it. But, man, over the long haul, I just think, I don't like the ROI or long season. Why? I know a lot of guys like to do it. Title will tell you, play it every time, and I don't really, that's not me in a tournament as a tournament player. I think I'm better off kind of fading it. So this is a spot here that's an easy fade for me. I'm definitely not playing the Brewers today. The Brewers can't even hit their way out of a damn paper bag right now. Team average 230. They got 9 homers. I mean, they're not turning that lineup over. They're just not looking good. And all of a sudden, they're chalk because they went to Colorado. And I know you like Freeland a little bit. I mean, there's too many reasons for me to fade it. But I do say Contreras in a good spot. Hoskins in a good spot today. Chirero, obviously. But, yeah, I think for me, it's kind of an easy fade for me. I like that Baltimore. I already mentioned that Baltimore, Arizona get both sides of that game more than I like this side with the Brewers. So no thanks. I'm just going to fade it. I'm going to let everybody else play it and hope Freeland has a great game. That to me is good enough for me instead of me playing it. You get the leverage. But hey, if over on FanDuel, if that Coors Field game it fades out, I'm going to have a pretty good night sitting there, when them 9:40 games and 10 o'clock games start. I'm going to have a little bit more fun. I got a little hour there. So, who knows? 3rd or 4th inning, we'll be 3-4 innings ahead. So, man, I'm just going to fade it. Full fade it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm more on the side of fade. And the side I go in on is definitely the Rocky side over the Brewer side personally. I like Freeland. I like the salary. We already talked pitching. I definitely like Freddie at the projected ownership and the matchup. But I will say, like I said, I mean, Freddie does have a fly ball concern a little bit. There is wind blowing in as well in Coors Field, so it's not the greatest conditions by any means. It's just the nature of the slate that's at hand, and it's the best park, and people just naturally always go to Coors Field. I'm one of the guys that more times than not fades Coors Field. Seems like you're the same way. So I'm definitely on a slate where everything's condensing around the Brewers against a left-handed pitcher in general. I mean, sure, can William Contreras hit a lefty? Yeah, absolutely. Hoskins, yeah. But both of those two have looked horrible this year against left-handed pitching. And just because they're in Coors Field doesn't automatically just flip the switch for them, right? So it's also the first game in Coors Field too, right? There's always talk on that. First game in Coors typically is somewhat lower scoring, right, than historical average, right? Take that for what it's worth. So on the Rocky side, I mean, I don't mind a guy like Tovar who can hit the ball in the air. Brent Doyle, right? Farmer can hit the ball in the air. He's 3,200. Chris Bryant, 3,800. I mean, some of these guys at the top half as mini stacks. I'm not going to 5-man stack the Rockies by any means, but 2- and 3-man stacks at this projected ownership against a guy who is definitely going to pick up ownership in terms of pitcher and Peralta have the exact same hitting conditions, and everybody's going to play the Brewers side against a lefty. So I don't mind the Rockies as mini stacks in tournaments, and one of my 3 teams definitely will have some of these Rockies on it for sure. Takes us to the next game. We're in lockstep in this one. This is my favorite game on the slate. D-backs and the Orioles. D-backs let everyone down last night. Now they get a Charlie Morton, reverse splits guy here who struggles against righties. And we just like left-handed hitters against right-handed pitching. And the D-backs have some really good hitters here. I love this game. I prefer the Orioles side more. Personally, just the guaranteed 9th inning at bats against a guy like Merrill Kelly. Orioles did it last night against Zach Gallen. I was on the Orioles last night. I'm going to be on them here again. Roof open in Arizona. We talk about weather. We talk about temperatures and that. It's nice and warm out there in Arizona. Not the greatest hitter's park by any means, but in relative to the slate, Orioles can do it on the base pass as well. Steal base, right? Steal bags. You got guys like Gunnar Henderson, even Kjerstad, Mullins, Jackson Holiday down there at the back half of the lineup. So I like those guys at the back half, and then I like the big power that they have up the top, right? Tyler O'Neill, O'Hearn, Adley, Gunnar. I love this team. My top stack of the night is definitely those here for me personally, and sounds like you're in lockstep.
Yeah, I like Baltimore. I like both sides really. I mean, same game total 9.5 as we got out there in Colorado. Both teams I would rather have for as far as lineups go. So for me, it's pretty easy. I mean, I might just game stack this to be truthful. I might play with a little bit, see what kind of pitcher I end up with over there on FanDuel, just pure game stack this one, and just sit back and wait, and hopefully that Coors game's a dud. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind this one. This is my favorite one all the way up and down, like you mentioned. I'd rather have some lefties there for Baltimore against Merrill Kelly. That is for sure. I mean, he's got pretty 20 last year. He had 14% strikeout rate against lefties. He's pretty. I mean, they're gonna hit him. So I mean, you're looking at Gunnar, as you mentioned, O'Hearn, Mullins. I mean, I just like this lineup up and down. For when you got a guy like Ryan Mountcastle, like going to hit like 8th in your team. I mean, if he was on the Rockies, he'd be hitting 3rd. So I don't know. I just think this is a great spot, great game. We got the high total. It's not for me. I don't understand why. I mean, to me, it's pretty simple to see that. I would much rather have more offense here. So the fact that the Brewers are going to be a little chalkier just because it's the Coors Field narrative. I get that the Colorado pitching sucks and everything else, but man, I just think this game's way better for me. I think it'd be more fun just sit back and watch these two teams. I mean, every guy. I mean, it's just going to be a great game. I think this is the game for me that I'll be all over here tonight. That is for sure.
Yeah, we're in lockstep. Looking at 190 plate appearances last year for Merrill Kelly against left-handed hitters between this year and last year. A 220 ISO, strikeout rate of 13.2%, and a fly ball rate north of 34%. And I hate to tell you, Baltimore's got some of the best lefty hitters in baseball, right? Adley, huge fly ball guy, Mullins, O'Hearn, Kjerstad, Holiday. Those guys will swipe bags as well. And then you add in guys like Gunnar Henderson, right? Westberg, who has a ton of power, Tyler O'Neill, who has a ton of power. I mean, this is my top stack by far. And ownership, as you can see, only one guy projected, or two guys projected over double digits, Westberg and Gunnar Henderson. A lot of that has to do with position eligibility, right? Westberg being double position, right? Naturally going to increase ownership, and second base is typically a pretty weak position in general. And shortstop's typically a position that you want to spend up at, right? So naturally guys are just going to click the Gunnar Hendersons of the world, the Ellie De La Cruzes of the world, right? Things like that. So I love the O's. And then on the D-back side, I want the righties in particular mainly first. So I give guys like Lourdes Gurriel, Suarez a boost. And I think they're going to also be lower owned because naturally people just see a right-handed pitcher. They stack up the lefties in terms of like you and I, Gyiraszin, we're baseball nerds and dig into the metrics and the stats. And Martin's actually reverse splits, right? So he actually gets hit better from guys that are from the right side of the plate, right? So I like Gurriel. I like Suarez, Moreno. Tim Tawa, still in minimum down there at second base. He's nothing special by any means, but at 2K with guys like Zach Wheeler on the slate that you want to spend up for, I like it. Obviously, Corbin Carroll, Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor are really good hitters themselves. Perdomo, right, switch hitter there. So I love this game. I think game stack is very viable, and we saw the game stack be the guy the game you needed last night, right, out there in Oakland, win all the money in a very similar slate in terms of weather. And this slate's only 2 more games than what yesterday was.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. The thing too is with that roof being open, man, what a difference that makes on a night like today where you got half the country is freezing.
Yeah, exactly. Ross says Hampson's in the lineup instead of Tawa. I think Hampson's like 2,500, so it's still not that big of a deal. And he's been okay for them so far to start the season here. Takes us to a bad ballpark here. Really good for pitchers. 2 decent real-life pitchers. I just don't think they have a ton of upside in terms of DFS scoring in relative to the other guys on this slate, Castillo and Valdez. Could they get there? Absolutely. We saw this game go nuts yesterday for pitching. Wininski had a good game. Gilbert had a solid game. I think these pitchers are going to do all right. I think other pitchers outscore them. I just don't think hitters are going to be really good at here. I don't think you need to play this park. I'm not playing this park. I'm crossing this game off. There's better spots. Nothing for me in this game, but what do you see here?
Yeah, we can pass. There's nothing here we need to see.
All righty, we can pass. Takes us to 2 games left to talk about here. Reds and the Giants. Matt McClain just went on the IL for this Reds team. This Reds team has been atrocious. to start the year. This game was the game you needed to stack in terms of, we talk about stack up games in terms of hitting. You needed to stack the pitchers last night in this game. I think Lodolo and Roop or Rop, however you pronounce it, are both solid enough pitchers. Landon looked a little rough, right? He had the strikeouts, but 4 walks can scare you against a team like the Reds, who will steal a ton of bases. I just don't love this ballpark, man. Late at night out there in San Fran. I mean, that ballpark is huge. You really need to hit it to get it out of there, or be like Barry Bonds, right, and juice it up. I don't love this game. I don't love any side of this game. If I picked a side, it'd be these Giants against Lodolo. I mean, guys like Willie Adames, Chapman, Flores, Ramos, just some guys, one-offs, power guys that you could use, or two-man stacks. I'm not full stacking either side of this game.
Yeah, we don't need to be worrying about too many bats on the 10-game slate and out in San Francisco. If we ever get to that point, you guys know I've been drinking too many of these high noons.
Yeah, I mean, parks and weather makes a big difference in baseball, and the overall majority of the field just doesn't take account into that too often outside of a Coors Field, right, or like a Wrigley Win game. And these other parks make a big difference. And we're going to one of the better parks on the slate, actually one of the better parks that we're going to talk about all year. It's not the Coliseum. It's their new park out there in Sacramento. And this was the game you needed last night in terms of bats. We have better pitchers on the hill here tonight. Michael King got hit up a little bit last night, which was hurtful for me. He was one of my contrarian options here. It just goes to show you this Athletics team is just overall good. I mean, Michael King's got really good strikeout stuff, really good movement, everything. And this Athletics team is just better than what people give them credit for. I mean, they got a lot of young guys down at the back, bottom half of this lineup, right? Guys like Andujar, who just hasn't struck out so far to start the year. Jacob Wilson is just a contact guy, puts the ball in play, has some speed. And then you got the power up at the top, right? Guys like Soderstrom, who hit 2 bombs last night. He's cheap. Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler. Dylan Cease can have some control issues at times, has a little bit of power issue concerns, but 2 decent enough real-life pitchers that maybe, I mean, this game's going to go unowned on the athletic side for sure. I mean, I think there's some leverage there. They're hitting the baseball well, and the Padres are definitely going to pick up some ownership just because they're facing the lefty, guaranteed 9th inning at bats in one of the better hitting parks and hitting environments on the slate. I just think Jeffrey Springs is a decent enough real-life pitcher to middle some of my interest in the Padres. Are they fine? Yeah, but do I put other teams ahead of them? I think so on this slate. I'd put the Orioles ahead of them. I'd put the D-backs ahead of them, some of the other teams we talked about earlier. But what do you see here to run with the slate?
Yeah, I mean, when I first looked at it, I thought, yep, another game out there, Sacramento. Is that turning into News Coors Field? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking, do you want to be on that? I mean, this is a night where it's not going to get too much eyeballs peeking at it, I should say, where it's getting too much love out there. So, you mentioned earlier the Padres were going to be a highly owned stack. I was kind of surprised by that, to be honest. But, I mean, this A's bullpen sucks too, man. They've given up the second most runs in all of baseball too up to this point too. I mean, it could have something to do with that stadium for sure, but their ERA is like 6.08. They've given up 5 homers already, walking 20 guys. I mean, they're not the best of bullpens. Now, you go on the other side, the Padres bullpen is fabulous. I mean, they're one of the best bullpens, second best bullpen so far in baseball. And then you got Dylan Cease in front of them. So, yeah, the A's are going to be a tough one here today. But you know what? Baseball's a funny game, man. You get a warm weather, you get a park, that can yield some runs. As I mentioned before, it was like 9+ runs that park yielded in the minors. But which was actually low for that division, which was funny. They play in parks up there in the Pacific Division. They're giving up like 14 runs a game and shit. It's like, what? So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Padres are in play today. I mean, you could go that route if you really want to. As you mentioned, there's some better spots. I think they're a pretty good pivot off the Baltimore and the Coors Field game. So, I mean, the park's been yielding the run, so I don't mind it at all. As we mentioned, that A's bullpen has just been trash. So definitely like some of the Padres there, but I don't have them up there at the top.
I just don't think they're the pivot. I think the O's are actually the pivot because optimizers at these price points, the O's are much more expensive. I mean, you guys Gurriel's 2K, right? Cronenworth, 3,900. Lockridge, 2,300. Diaz, 2,200. These guys aren't all confirmed, and they have other cheaper, right? Guys like Luis Arias hitting in the top half of that lineup, 3,600. So optimizers, we play a salary-based game. They were the second highest owned stack when I did the dry run. It was Milwaukee by 72% of teams, and then San Diego at 43% of the teams. Far and away, the clear-cut most popular stacks on the slate. So if teams aren't 5-stacking Milwaukee, the next spot they're going, at least from optimizers are going, is to this Padres team. I think they're fine. I think they're sure. I just don't love it personally. And I wouldn't mind picking some of this lefty power to get to Cease. Cease does have a little bit of a power lean to lefties and a fly ball concern. Soderstrom, Lawrence Butler, Blade are kind of the guys, and then Brett Rooker and Lane Lears can always get the ball in the air against anyone with tons of power there. So,
see, I got to remember you're running these optos with DK, and I've been running on mine all day on FanDuel. So the pricing's way different. You know, the San Diego bats aren't all that expensive except for Tatis, Morel, and Machado. I mean, everybody else is under 3K over there. So, I don't know. I like it. But like I said, man, that Baltimore-Arizona game just looks too good for me.
Yeah, we're in lockstep there. I think we broke it down pretty good, went more in depth, and you get you and I on here who want to talk metrics and bore the people with stats. Hey, that's just baseball, and we follow the numbers, etc. out here. So give the people a home run call here to round up the show, Gyiraszin.
Let's see. I don't want to make an obvious one. I'm going to go with one that, man, do I want to stay away from that? I'm trying to think here. You know what? I am going to go Brandon Lowe.
Brandon Lowe, I love that call. I'm going to another lefty. I'm going to not Gunnar Henderson, who's the poster child for this Orioles team. I'm going to the other very good young prospect, Jackson Holliday, who's overshadowed by Gunnar Henderson. That just goes to show how good this Orioles team has drafted over the last couple of years. I'm going to the 9 spot. Jackson Holliday, second base, shortstop eligible. I think he takes Merrill Kelly deep. Hopefully he's in that lineup. I don't see the confirmed lineup out there, but he should be. I like Jackson Holliday a lot. And then I'm going to Coors Field. I'm not going to the Brewers. I'm going to Zeke Tovar in the 2-hole against fastball Freddie. I think he puts one deep. I do like Freddie, but I also don't mind some of these fly ball guys against him. I'm taking Zeke Tovar. Both, I think those are both two contrarian options there. And I'm with you with Brandon Lowe. He looks really good on the stone here, as you can see, hitting with a 539 ISO to start the year against right-handed pitching there. That's going to do it for this show. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, Masters coming up in 2 days. Hoop and Tambo did the show right here. If you want access to that, DGen75 gets you $75 off your first month with an optimizer package over here to SHIPIT Nation. And you get all the sports. You don't just get PGA. That's $24 for the first month. That's cheaper than places out there across the industry are charging just for Masters content alone. They're charging $25, $26, $28, even upwards of $30 just for the week alone. Look no further than here. We got you covered. All things you need to have success with DFS. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.